Hello, and welcome to Voices from the Field, a Mayford podcast where we talk with educators in the field to hear about their perspectives and experiences. My name is Jake Burston, Advocacy Chair for Mayford, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Cathy Moffitt. Dr. Cathy Moffitt has taught physical education and health in the Chariho District for 37 years. The last 16 at Charleston Elementary School as an elementary teacher, her commitment is to ensure that all students have a foundation in physical and health education to support an active, healthy lifestyle into adulthood. The environment provided during physical education allows students to practice athletic skills as well as social and emotional skills, which help them to become positive citizens in the global community. Catherine received her bachelor and master's degrees in physical education from the University of Rhode Island and a doctorate in educational leadership from Johnson and Wales University. Catherine is the executive director of the Rhode Island Association of Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance, and a charter member of NAFL, also serving on their board as VP of Physical Education for the Eastern Seaboard. As an advocate for the health and wellness of all students, Catherine contributed to the writing of the Rhode Island Health Education Frameworks and the Physical Education Standards and Assessments with the Rhode Island Department of Education, creating documents that guide teachers around the state to teach meaningful, standards-based lessons. Welcome, Cathy.
Hi, Jake. Great to be here.
So happy to be in this space with you. Thank you so much for saying yes to the podcast. Before we officially get started, what's making you smile these days?
I think that I'm just so lucky to do what I do, and I work with so many amazing people that I feel super fortunate.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You gotta love who we're working with, and to be in our field and have that joy is really incredible. So tell us more about who you are and how you started your education journey.
Um, I was born and raised in Rhode Island. My parents are both teachers, and I felt like I kind of always knew that I was going to be a teacher of some sort. I almost thought I might go into math, but physical education is really where my heart was, and I went on from that. I think that I think that my experiences in physical education in elementary school and in high school were I was that kid who looked for the clovers when we were playing softball and that kind of thing. And I always knew there had to be a better way to hit all the students. And I that was what inspired me to go into physical education. And the people I've met along the way have just kind of kept me interested in going for a very long time.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Some of the guests we've spoken to, we all have different backgrounds and what kind of brings us to the field and what our love is. But thank you for sharing that, your experience about looking for the clovers or looking for other things. And so it kind of, if I can just paraphrase, it kind of made you want to make a difference, right, in other students' lives and make an impact.
That's exactly right. I felt like I wanted to be active and I wanted to be part of it, but there was really no inspiration to. It was easy to be that kid who kind of took the back seat and was like, everybody else is going to do it. I'm just going to sit back here because nobody's really doesn't really matter to anybody. And so I knew that I felt like there was a better way to inspire kids to try to be active, and I'm hoping I'm doing that.
No, definitely. And it's that you mentioned your parents were teachers at one point.
My parents were both teachers. My mom was an elementary school teacher, and
Mhm.
my father was actually a math teacher and guidance counselor in the district that I work in now. He and I worked
Oh,
together
wow.
for a year before he retired. So
Wow.
that was kind
That's
of fun.
incredible. That I bet that was a good experience.
It was fun. We kind of joke around that Chariho has paid my insurance for my entire life, pretty much.
Awesome. So for listeners who may not know, what kind of skills do you teach in your elementary, right? Elementary students?
I am elementary. Our school is from K to 4.
Hmm.
So that's my where I've spent most of my time.
And so like how would just give me like a little rundown. How would your units laid out? Do you have like your movement concepts, your locomotor skills, your You're
We do a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
I think we do a lot of skills-based things
Got it.
where using the skills kicking, throwing, and so it's broken down that way, especially with the younger grades,
Hmm.
so that they're building the foundation to be able to play sports and do certain things. As they start to get a little bit older, we do incorporate small-sided games or modified games that look like they're playing a sport maybe,
Hmm.
but are really more focused on the specific skills and the foundation that they need for other things. I think that we do a lot of cooperative games also.
Hmm.
There's less traditional sports than some kids would like, but I think that it is a balance between keeping everybody super active and engaged and making sure that they have the foundations to do whatever they want as they get older.
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, a lot of students are participating in some type of activity or sport after school, whether it be basketball, swimming, karate. And so when it sounds like you're teaching them the basic skills and the foundation to pick what they would like to be engaged in, after they leave us. So that's great, teaching them that foundation. So along
I
those lines, how often do you see your students per week?
I see them 3 times a week, and
Okay.
2 of them are phys ed times. One of them is a health class.
Okay.
They're 35 minutes a piece. So we get just over 100 minutes with the students. 1 through 4 have health also. Kindergarten does not have health.
Okay.
They have 2 days a week of PE.
So so the kindergartners get less PE, no health, and the other students get more PE and health. Is that right?
Everyone gets the same amount of PE. They all get 2 classes a week, 35 minutes,
Okay.
and 1 through 4 all get the additional class for in health.
Okay. How many so you see your students either twice or three times a week depending on the grade level, and then for 35 minutes. This is a follow-up question. How does a typical class go? Like what would it start like? What would be the middle? What would be the end?
We we start most days with some kind of activity, that just a warm-up activity. A lot of times, especially when we're inside, they come in and they either walk or they run. It gives them a few minutes just to kind of talk
Hmm.
and get all of the wiggles out that from when they've been sitting in class. And then we work on some skill, whatever we might be doing on any given point.
Hmm.
Try to do a small activity that incorporates that skill, and then we kind of do a small mindful moment where they recapture everything that we went through in the day and kind of refocus to go back to class.
Got
So
it. Got it. So like a
it's a lot in
beginning.
35 minutes.
Yeah, that's a lot, but I mean, as you know, every class is different, and they have that structure of what the routine. They know what they're going to do when they get in. There's a skill development, and then they know how it kind of closes down. Um, I think people have different philosophies on how they close down their class, and some teachers stop right away, and others have a little transition time or kind of a mindful minute, if you will, to kind of have them relax before they go back to class. So,
I'll say that there are, some classes that need that more. There are some
right.
classes where, depending on how things go, if they get stuck and they're not getting a skill,
Hmm.
everything is flexible and you have to
Right.
adapt and modify to whatever's happening. There are some
Definitely.
classes that definitely need that moment at the end to refocus. And then there are other classes that you can kind of go until much closer to the end.
Right.
But it's a
Yeah.
daily challenge to figure out the exact right mixture.
Right. No, I get it. I agree 100%. It's flexibility is key. So
Absolutely.
my next two questions are kind of combined, so I'll read them. So how do you ensure that PE is a brave or safe space for all bodies? And it's kind of related to how do you engage and support your learners? So if you want to kind of think about that again, how do you ensure that PE is a brave space that everybody's included? And then how do you engage and support your learners?
I think that we do a lot of things, and I give a lot of choices.
Hmm.
choice is super important, whether it's even just choosing the kind of equipment that they're going to use, the size of the equipment, the weight of the equipment. As the more options you can give kids, the more they're going to feel successful, the more they'll be engaged. I think that giving them choices helps them kind of take ownership of whatever it is that we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
if they can make small modifications. So that's definitely one way that we kind of do it. And I try to level things. So if you are not ready to play basketball, which, I mean, when you look at it, really, what first, second, third grader is ready to play basketball? So where are the skills and what level are we at?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to work best for you? Do you need the hula hoop hanging from the basket? Can you actually shoot it into the basket? Can you hit just the net of the basket?
Right.
So giving them options and choices, and most of the things that we try to do is, I have found to be pretty successful in helping them engage. Another thing I try to do is, we try to do, they're not quite monthly, but we do challenges throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
Our last challenge happens to be, well, we were doing two. We had a jump rope challenge going, and they were doing a timed run challenge to see, kind of to test their endurance. So we started off at the beginning of the month at like 2 minutes. Can they jog for this amount of time? And it's a challenge by choice. You try it or you don't,
Mm-hmm.
but it engages kids. They can see where they are. It just, it, for a lot of kids, those challenges are what increase their participation. And when they feel like, and they get a little certificate at the end. Many kids are extrinsically motivated and will do a lot of things for a little token or a certificate
Right.
and that kind of thing. So we have a lot of different little challenges that we incorporate.
That sounds great. So you're offering them choice, you're giving them challenges, because everyone's, as you know, is at a different level. And some of the students might be a little bit more competitive and others are more on the shyer side, and that's fine. So that's sounds like you're really offering them a lot of different opportunities to be successful. That's great. What advice, you've been in the field a long time, over 30 years. So what advice would you give to someone new entering the field?
I think the thing that I say most often to young professionals is to say yes to as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Get as many opportunities as you can, to try as many different things as you can. It is important to kind of do that networking.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we are very in tune with social media and our phones and looking things up. And now, you and I have had a discussion about AI. There are a lot of things where the computer comes in, but when you have those opportunities to be face to face with other people, working on a committee, writing curriculum, doing all of those little things, try to do as many as you can. I mean, there's always a reason not to,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that those are the things that build your foundation for the love of our job, for to see what is supposed to be done and how it's being done, and just to gain
Knowledge.
maybe
Yeah.
respect from other people and things. I think that uh, I'm going to throw out an example.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I was incredibly fortunate when I first started teaching. I couldn't have been a teacher for more than 2 years, and a little bit of nepotism. It was a friend of my parents that happened to work for the Department of Education, was writing the health frameworks that I had,
Good.
and she ran into me in a store one day and was like, "Hey, you should come be on this committee and help write the frameworks." And I'm thinking, I have only been teaching 2 years. What can I possibly contribute to this task?
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. I made amazing friends. It was all people in our field, people from the Department of Health, people from the Department of Education. And I felt like I was really contributing things. And that kind of spurred so many of my other experiences. And I was so grateful that I had said yes. So I think that just having that in your head, that when you are given an opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
if it's at all possible, you really need to say yes, because you make amazing mentor, you get amazing mentors, you have amazing networking opportunities. And that's probably why one piece of advice that I give to most young professionals is join things, be on committees, do something outside of your day-to-day teaching.
That's great. I love that advice. And I love the example you gave because, you know, it's if you weren't asked, you might not have done it, but kudos to you for actually getting involved. And you said you met a lot of folks, you met some people and that helped along the way. It's a great networking opportunity. And you know, Cathy, we're on the NAFL. We're part of the NAFL together, right?
Yes.
So you're still doing the work. I mean, you know, I don't think it stopped for you, right? How many committees
Absolutely
are you
not.
on? You're probably on several different committees, right?
I will say that 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 experience kind of gave me the confidence to do so many other things. And
Mhm.
a lot of those people that I worked with, I've ended up being able to travel with and doing so many other things. And it got me involved in Rikeford, and it got me, it's just given me the confidence to kind of take on a lot of different roles that I probably never would have expected myself to do.
Mhm.
And I kind of love that. And like you said, you meet so many awesome people being part of the academy. We have so many experiences that are, you can't put a price on. You can't
Uh,
you can't redo that, and you can't do it through the computer. It's just there's so many amazing experiences out there just waiting to be had, as if you are willing to take that chance. And I think that's super important.
Take the chance, say yes. I think those are the two key points, right? So,
Absolutely.
Cathy, let's talk a little bit about your school and what some initiatives or programs that you have either started or been a part of or implemented. I know we talked a few weeks ago, you mentioned a running club and possibly skateboarding or biking. Tell me a little bit more about some initiatives you're a part of.
So I am I have a running club, and
Hmm.
I actually, when I started teaching, I've worked in two schools in Chariho. I worked for 18 years at Hope Valley School, and then I've worked for the past 18 years at uh in my 18th year at Charlestown Elementary. But I started kind of a running club when I was at Hope Valley. And when I went to Charlestown, it was, is it going to work here? Are people interested? And it really kind of took off, where it wasn't just a during PE thing anymore. It became something we started running before school twice a week. So I have anywhere between, when we can be outside. I actually had to limit it when we're inside, but when we can be outside, I have anywhere between 50 and 70 kids who come and run in the mornings.
Wow.
We run from 8 o'clock till 8:30. And we use one of the scanner things. So they scan their laps, and they just keep you accumulating miles and miles and miles. I have one little boy who this morning actually hit his 50-mile mark, and they just try to
Wow.
get as many as they can. They all kind of set goals for themselves for how many miles they're going to catch, how many miles they're going to run. And it is amazing to watch them get excited about it. And the reason I went with running was, it was something that they can come and do without anything.
Right.
There's no cost to it. If they have a pair of shoes on, they can come out and walk or run. And it is amazing the confidence that builds in kids when they see themselves, when they get their first like little increment. They get a 10 mile, they get a little necklace that says Charlestown Fit on it, and they get feet along the way. And we kind of do a little incentives, but they get so excited. And it is amazing to watch those children then run when they're in middle school or high school. So that's kind of been a fantastic experience for me. I've loved watching some of my runners, my milers, go off and run in high school. I have one student, Kyle Ackroyd, who is running in college now. And it
Wow.
is, his parents will still email me and be like, hey, he's running here, or he's doing this, and watching what he's doing on Facebook and stuff. It's kind of heartwarming to see that that all started, in fourth and fifth grade. And um, it is one of the selling points. My principal, I think, is fearful for when I do retire, because she is like, she wants to make sure the next person will do some kind of running club. She kind of sells that to parents as, like, oh, we have a running club. They meet before school 2 days a week. And it is,
That's really
a lot of
incredible.
parents are very, and it is babysitting for some, I'm sure. But the kids, once they're there and they start moving, they want to see those miles go up. So
Right.
that's been fantastic. And I've been involved with, I also work with our student council. Our fourth graders do a small student council, and we do little activities throughout the year. We do some fundraising things, and we do some spirit weeks and that kind of stuff. You had also mentioned the skateboarding, Jake, and we are all in the process of kind of getting trained to teach skateboarding. One of our other elementary school teachers, elementary PE teachers, got a grant and was accepted into this program, the on board.
On board, okay.
On board. And they have been fantastic. So we're hoping that we get the skateboards in before this spring, before we're out of school, and we can pass them around. We've got one set for the district. We work kind of nicely together, and we all share our equipment. So we're hoping to get some skateboarding in before the end of the year.
That's great. I mean, talk about you're non-traditional. You're providing skateboarding, running. They're valuing PE. They're valuing physical activity. But you and your colleagues are setting them up for success, so they can have these ways to stay active in the future. So, kudos to you. So,
Thanks.
being in the field of physical education, and we talk to a lot of different folks. Maybe we meet them at meetings, or administrators, or just caregivers. What's a misconception people may have or do have about the field of physical education?
I I think that there are a couple of things that come to mind for me with this one. One is, you right off the top, I think that people think it's an easy job. I think people think that, like, have that roll out the ball and sit back and let them play kind of attitude,
Right.
and not much could be further from the truth. It is always funny when I have parents come in, and actually I had a parent sub for me the other day, and at the end of the day she was exhausted. She's like, I don't know how you do this eight blocks a day,
Mhm.
and you have to, flip a switch every class, because you need a different personality with each group that comes in, and everybody's working on something slightly different. And it's not an easy job.
Right.
I love it. And, after 30 some odd years, it's not a hard job, but you have to start somewhere. And I think that misconception leads to a lot of other animosity sometimes when
Right.
people are being are degrading the profession. People can take it very personally. I
Hmm.
think that you kind of have to get kind of create a thick skin where you have to know your value and your worth, so that you can advocate for it, instead
Right.
of just getting upset that people don't have the same exact perception that you do.
Right.
And I had another piece to that. It might come back to me in a second.
No, that's
But
okay. I love the open mindset you have too. How did you? So I just want to go back to, you mentioned you had a parent coming in. How did they volunteer? Is that typical in your district to have parents come in, or just somebody or how does that work? Because I remember when I was in teaching a district of mine, I had a parent come in, and she was awesome. She helped with field day and whatnot, but we really built a good connection and relationship, because she was able to see my perspective. I was able to see hers. So I'm curious how you get parents in your gym.
this particular parent, so I actually have created some nice relationships with parents through the running club. I
Okay.
have parents who come in and volunteer in the morning and help me with that. So when I do need somebody for certain things, I have a small group of parents who I do call on and try to pull in.
Hmm.
A couple of those parents actually went and got their substitute certificates. So a couple of them have been certified to in Rhode Island, in our district. You don't need a certification to sub in, so they have all, they're all qualified to sub. So there are a couple of my parents who are, I know, share the same philosophy that I do, and are my kind of go-to people. If I hurt my back last week and
Hmm.
I immediately went to one of these people and said, I don't have lesson plans, I've got nothing, but I need to go home. And she was there and she was on it and she did an amazing job and kind of followed through with what I was doing, just with me verbally kind of telling her the directions. So I am very fortunate in that way, that we do have a couple parents who are like-minded with me and are are able to sub when I am, if I have to be out.
But that's awesome to hear that. Is your back okay now? Are you okay?
I am,
Okay.
well, I'm getting better. I've made it through the entire week standing up, and it was just one of those weird things. I don't know,
Okay. As
but
long as you're on the mend, as long as you're getting better.
I'm
So
on the mend.
that's good. No, that's interesting. So because you started this running club, like you said, you built a relationship with these parents, and now they're coming in, and now they're able to help. And so, I mean, it just kind of comes full circle, and they're seeing the value in what you do. They're seeing your perspective. You're seeing theirs. They're seeing the students. So, yeah, that's really awesome. I think, as teachers, the more we can bring in caregivers and parents and other stakeholders, I think the better. We need to be kind of showcasing, and which is what you've been doing beautifully, um, what the field is about and what actually takes place in the gym. Because if people aren't educated, I think they kind of make up their own perceptions, or maybe their own from their own experiences, they remember this happened or that happened, but it's not like it used to be. So we're
I
we're
think that's super important too. It's not like it used to be. And I think when we are advocating for different things, whether it's with your administration or, I know that I've been fortunate enough to go to some of the Shape America Speak Out days in Washington, D.C.
Mhm.
When you're advocating for a profession, you don't know your audience necessarily, so it's important to their backgrounds with physical education could be disastrous. They
Right.
could have had a horrible experience and not really be super psyched about funding things or being supportive of things. So I think being able to come in and showcase the amazing things that are happening now, it's really important, so that the negative old negative experiences aren't going to be the only thing a person might know. I think inviting people into your space is super important, whether it's your principal, whether it's administrators or school committee members, whatever might be there. People need to come in and see what you're doing, so that it we don't have those misconceptions, and we can kind of try to eliminate some of those things.
I really like how you said inviting people in, because I think sometimes people get kind of bogged down in their own head and what they're doing, and they're doing a great job in their class, but unless other people are seeing that, or we're kind of showcasing that, how is anybody going to know, unless the students are saying it when they go home? But inviting people in and just taking that extra step, say yes, right? Like we talked about earlier. So
Saying yes.
so Kathy, what do you hope to see in the future? What goals do you have? These could either be personal or professional.
Well, I am getting ready to think about retirement. So I, don't know what is going to come next, but I'm excited about the things that are happening. I am excited to be trying the skateboarding thing and hoping that it goes somewhere with, and um, I think that my future, hopefully I will end up someplace in Rhode Island at one of the colleges, maybe supervising student teachers, or I'll find some role somewhere in our profession that, and keep things going. I think that there are amazing organizations to be involved in. There are definitely, higher education is someplace where I kind of always thought I might end up, which is why I got my doctorate.
Mhm.
And so I think that I think those kind of things are might be in my future.
So it sounds like it might be a little bit bittersweet. You've been teaching a long time, but you want to still stay involved, maybe at the collegiate level. But we need you. We need you helping our younger teachers. We need you, and I'm sure you're going to stay involved in the committees and in different boards that you're on. So that's great. So, Cathy, can our listeners connect with you in any way? Are you on Blue Sky, Twitter, or anything like that?
I actually have I I haven't been on Twitter in so long.
Mhm.
I am on Twitter at someplace. I unfortunately can't do that one right now. I
Okay.
am on Instagram though at Moffitt Cathy is
Okay.
my Instagram.
Perfect. We can put that in the show notes so people can reach out to you if they have any questions.
And I'm very old school. I'm on Facebook. So if you're a Facebook person, I am on Facebook too, and it's just Cathy Moffitt.
Okay, and that's
But
okay. Just Cathy Moffitt, and they could find you on Facebook. Perfect. So I'll make
yeah,
sure to link that in the show notes. Well, thank you,
sure.
Cathy, for sharing your experience and expertise with us. It's been awesome connecting with you. Listeners, if you have any questions, you can always email us at mayfordpodcast@gmail.com. We'll have this episode uploaded soon. We're also asking our listeners to leave a review if this podcast has been helpful in supporting you in any way, as it does help other folks find it. Thank you all for listening. Have a great week, and we will be back soon.